the weak boy who only kneels and cries in pain when bullied, but accurately strikes the enemy's vital point within 3 seconds of throwing a punch, and simultaneously breaks free from his control. This shocked everyone present. Even the instructor showed an expression of disbelief. Is this really the combat ability 12-year-olds should have? I actually felt a killing intent from the student. Is he really the Jike I know? And before this, Jike was the strongest knight in the continent, born into the greatest dragon-slaying family of the empire. He awakened a healer profession completely unrelated to dragon slaying, and was unable to use the unique aura of knights. Ultimately, he was expelled from his home because of this. To survive, he had to keep fighting, because he knew well, the weak are destined to be trampled by the strong. This is the truth of the world. Later, by chance, he obtained the legendary ancient relic, but was subsequently hunted down by the Empire. Although he ultimately killed all the enemies by himself, he was also severely injured, at the brink of death. Even the powerful healing magic had no effect. At this moment, he slowly took the ancient relic out of his pocket. I'm sorry, Alicia. In the next second, the ancient relic emitted a golden light. A powerful will awakened the ancient power. The ancient dragon soul would be imprinted on the soul of the strong-willed person. Initiate emergency measures. Does Jike Drake agree? At first, he thought this was just nonsense. So, without thinking, he agreed. Then a window prompt sounded. Activate the irreversible power. With the countdown coming to an end. In the next second, when he opened his eyes again, he found himself back in the past. But he quickly accepted everything. And he clearly remembered. This is the cradle of the Drake family. The Dragonslayer Drake. He was the one who killed the evil dragon Bahamut during the Dragon-Human War 1,000 years ago. He is the hero who saved the continent. And the Drake family, one of the 3 major super families, was established by the Dragonslayer Draken, a descendant of Drake. Because of this, everyone with Drake bloodline can receive the blessing of Ki. They can more easily determine their aura and become a knight. But Jike is the exception. At that moment, a prompt window sounded ahead. The ancient dragon soul completely merged with the soul of the breaker. In the next second, countless windows suddenly appeared before his eyes. Lower level manager status window. Jike Drake. Profession: healer. Title: recipient of the ancient dragon's blessing. Then below are some skill displays. At this moment, he was very shocked. It was like a magical image, able to penetrate. Moreover, terms like profession and skills are modern words. Then he suddenly remembered what his master once told him. Ancients classified various professions based on individual abilities. The techniques derived from professions are called skills. So his healer profession can use healing skills. At that time, his master insisted he train every day, claiming that healers were very sturdy. In any case, based on the current situation, I am now a healer. Let's give it a try. In the next second, his hand emitted a pure white light. It seems this is real. I became a healer at 20 in my last life. After opening the ether hall, he closed his eyes and began to meditate. Sure enough, my ether hall has been unlocked now. Although the body I trained before has disappeared, I have returned with skills and memories, compared to before my return. In this life, he is in a more advantageous position. To make better use of all this, he must clearly understand the cards he holds. At that moment, Jik's butler, Decker, slowly appeared before him. Did you forget that there is something important today? Young Master Jik has been very afraid of Decker since childhood. Even though his mind is 32 years old, the deep-seated fear cannot be erased. At that moment, the professional skill com activated. Then the tension in his heart instantly disappeared. It can actually be used automatically? At this moment, he heard Decker slowly say, young master. Are you listening to me? Of course, Jik affirmed this. Are you referring to the evaluation exam for Panklachiwan? Right, you need to know that. All children with Drake bloodline must start entering the cradle at age 7 to undergo 5 years of rigorous training. Panklachiwan is a fighting competition that is not bound by any rules. The instructors conduct the Panklachiwan swordsmanship competition. Come to evaluate the students. The instructors decide the practice partners, but it can be specified. Designate opponents through mutual agreement, because it is not bound by any rules. Therefore, injuries may occur. There may even be deaths. But after all, this evaluation is related to the class division of the academy, so the children can only give it their all. The scene shifts. At this moment, instructor Pan Maluk spoke up. Today is the day for Panklachiwan. Everyone knows this is the final evaluation. So let's begin now. Everyone, get ready. Meanwhile, the people present began to discuss. I didn't expect Jik would dare to come. Did he not get beaten badly last year? Is such a guy really a direct descendant? Then Aaron and Guta were the first to start their duel. With the instructor's command. In the next second, Aaron kicked out a leg, instantly ending the battle. During the fight, he left his chin completely unprotected. Of course, it would turn out like this. Every time I faced a duel as a child, I would tremble in fear. I didn't expect it to look so simple now. At the same time, Jik didn't notice at all that someone was watching him from the side. After a moment of cracking his knuckles, it was finally Jik and Raven's turn to duel. At this moment, Jik slowly opened his mouth and said, I didn't expect it would actually be you, Raven, but this isn't surprising. After all, my opponent every year is him. And Jik knows very well that they must have some kind of deal behind the scenes. This despicable guy is actually my relative. In my past life, the 4 direct descendants of the Drake family had hardly ever met. But there are more than a dozen cousins. They often bullied me. At this moment, Raven slowly opened his mouth and said immediately, this time I want to praise you. You were beaten so badly last time. And you still have the courage to come out. Upon hearing this, his calm skill activated instantly. In less than a moment, he calmed down. If you mock me as an inferior factor again, I won't let you off. Then Raven grabbed his hair, not letting me go. What can you do about it? In the next second, he suddenly activated his skill, a sure hit, and hit his face on the spot. Originally, he was thinking of knocking him out. But unexpectedly, the skill activated on its own. At the same time, the instructor asked in surprise, I haven't announced the start yet. Why did you start fighting? But Jik was very disdainful. Isn't it better to strike first in a fight? Upon hearing this, the instructor felt incredibly shocked. I actually felt killing intent from a student. Then Raven's voice rang out, Instructor, announce the start. That inferior factor. I will teach him a harsh lesson. With the instructor's command, in the next second, Raven quickly took his stance and attacked Jik. And he was always on guard against Jik's left hand, just as Jik threw a left punch. At that moment, Raven suddenly crouched down. Then he lifted Jik's body, wanting to throw him down to the ground. But at that moment, Raven suddenly tensed up, then quickly created distance between the two. Seeing this, the instructor felt incredibly shocked. Is this really the combat ability of a 12-year-old child? At the moment, Raven dodged Jik's attack and pushed him down. He thought he had won for sure. But unexpectedly, Jik quickly attacked Raven's chin, breaking free from his grip. Even if the attack failed, Jik still remained very calm and simultaneously made the correct attack. He possesses extremely strong skills and focus. Is he really the Jik Drake I know? At the same time, just as Raven was thinking of creating distance, he was struck by Jik, crippling his left leg. Seeing this, Raven immediately swung his fist at him. But instantly, under the enhancement of his concentration skill, he quickly dodged every one of Raven's attacks. It seems I have already gotten used to controlling the ether. Then let's end this all. In the next second, he suddenly executed a shoulder throw and simultaneously activated a critical hit skill, which shattered his ribs on the spot. At this moment, he slowly opened his mouth and said, "Even if your learning ability is insufficient, at this level, you should be able to learn quite a bit, right? What kind of thing dares to shout at me?" Just then, he suddenly remembered something. "I have remembered all your names. Don't look around. If you're not convinced, come down and compete." The boy only displayed the most basic boxing techniques, but it left the talented students incredibly shocked. Even the instructor broke out in a cold sweat. "This is a fighting technique I've never seen before. Is he still the cowardly Jik I know?" Just after Jik made his bold statement, at this moment, a figure slowly stood up. "Jik Drake, I challenge you to a duel." The person speaking is Jakan Valdek. He is Jik's distant cousin. "It doesn't matter if we're related, but it's too boring for you to go alone. As the servant, Liam Stone, you two should team up. That way, it would be a fair match." Upon hearing this, Jakan immediately flew into a rage. "Are you insulting me? Of course, this is obvious, isn't it?" Moments later, the instructor announced the duel began, and Jik stared at the boy in front of him, fell into deep thought. The mercenary King Liam in his past life. Liam, as Jakan's servant, entered the academy after graduating from the cradle. Because he is too distantly related by blood, so during the education process, he was abandoned. Later, he joined a knight order called Baranawan. After Baranawan was destroyed, he became a mercenary. After a long life as a mercenary, he reached the realm of the Red Knight and founded the Stone Mercenary Group centered around himself. Finally, he became the Mercenary King, unifying the three major mercenary groups. Later, the Empire hired the Stone Mercenary Group, which led Liam to participate in the Continental War. The North and the Empire have always been enemies, and Jik, as a Northerner, became his enemy. But this time should be different, right? Meanwhile, Jakan suddenly threw a punch at him, but was easily blocked by Jik. "I clearly said you two should attack together." But Jakan completely ignored it, and instead kicked out at him. Soon, a piercing pain surged from Jakan's right foot to his heart. It turned out Jik used his elbow for defense, just as Jakan was caught off guard. At this moment, Jik had already appeared in front of him, and then made a punching motion. Seeing this, Jakan immediately protected his face with both hands. But the next second, Jik suddenly launched an attack on his right foot. "You can't even see through such a feint. That's why I told you both to attack together. It's just too boring with you alone." In less than a moment, Jakan was beaten to the point of having no ability to fight back. "Liam, take him out for me." The next second, Liam approached Jik with a powerful killing intent, slowly walking towards him. Is this guy really 12 years old like us? And Jik knew very well that if he let him seize the initiative, he would have to follow his rhythm. So he took the lead and launched an attack on Liam. In the next second, countless figures suddenly appeared around him and immediately launched an attack on him. Seeing this, everyone watching was incredibly shocked. What kind of attack technique is this? Even the instructor looked somewhat surprised. This was indeed a technique they had never seen before. The center of the continent is basically dominated by swordsmanship, so it's rare to see the boxing techniques from the north. At the same time, Jik suddenly realized that his current body was still too weak and could not sustain an attack for long. But compared to this, Liam's monstrous physique was the biggest problem. He had been casually defending, but as the mercenary king, he should have been more aggressive. At this moment, he tightly clenched his right fist. Anyway, my body has already reached its limit. So next, I will gather all my strength to break through his defense. In the next second, Jik suddenly threw a punch with incredible power. Seeing this, Liam immediately tilted his head to dodge. And Jik was quite shocked. He shouldn't have been able to see it coming. This guy's reflexes are just too sharp. At that moment, Liam suddenly grabbed Jik's right hand and then tried to throw him to the ground. But in the next second, he immediately broke free from his arm, followed by using a focused sensing skill, and then used his body to firmly lock him down. In less than a moment, he completed the rear naked choke. No matter how strong your body is, as long as you cut off the air and blood flowing to the brain, you have no way out, right? At the same time, Liam was wildly swinging his fists, launching a fierce attack. That's right, let's see who can last longer next. Then the two engaged in a prolonged battle. Seeing this, everyone present was incredibly shocked. Even the instructor couldn't help but break into a cold sweat. They all wanted to know who would win this duel. In less than a moment, the sounds of battle came to an abrupt halt. Liam was seen lying on the ground, unconscious. At this moment in the audience, a boy revealed a smile. That's right, isn't this more like it? Only by defeating you this way. Is it interesting? Jik Delik. The boy only performed the most basic aura detection, but it caught the special attention of the Knight Commander and the butler. Young master, are you hiding something from me? Yet Jik appeared completely unconcerned, because the momentum absolutely does not feel the power of the ether. Just after Jik secured victory in the duel. At this moment, the butler asked him, "Young master, I heard you were seriously injured in Pankrati. If it's convenient, may I take your pulse?" And Jik had long known his intentions. "Do you want to confirm whether I have awakened my aura?" Without the slightest hesitation, he immediately extended his left hand. In the next second, a surge of blue energy instantly flowed into his body. Seeing this, he felt an immense shock. Could he really be a Blue Knight? Generally, when confirming an awakening, only the Danshin is checked. But he checked the entire body through the meridians. Inputting energy into someone's body is a difficult task. It requires precise control of the energy. It seems he really is a Blue Knight. Knights are divided into different ranks, based on martial strength and energy control ability. They are classified into several levels. White swordsmen are at the stage of just learning swordsmanship. Before the blessing ceremony, most children in the cradle are white swordsmen. Orange swordsmen awaken their energy and enter the stage of opening their danshin for training. After the cradle, students receive their blessings. They will become orange swordsmen. They can freely control their energy. Purple knights are at the stage of obtaining the knight title. They can use energy to enhance their swords. Blue knights are at the stage of awakening blue energy. Finally, there is the realm that only those who surpass their limits can reach. In my past life, the mercenary King Liam and the Red Knight I could become. Although there are also Black Knights, such monsters are few and far between across the continent. And he was quite curious about how someone of the Knight Commander's level could come here to be a butler. But this is useless, because the momentum absolutely cannot detect the ether. At that moment, the butler slowly spoke up, saying, "Young master, are you hiding something from me? Why do you say that? It seems that Delik, you have concealed something. Young master, why have you suddenly changed so much?" Upon hearing this, he immediately shifted the topic. "You should ask me why I am only making changes now. There will be even more changes in the future. Everything will return to its original place. You just need to obediently follow me." "I understand, young master. As per your request, I have prepared the training room." Then I immediately turned and left here. If he is someone monitoring me, then keep him around to gather information. But the question is, which side is he on? He should be one of the siblings. The scene shifted, and I immediately arrived in the personal training room. Then he summoned the status window. The window displayed that many skills had already progressed from novice to proficient, and he was quite puzzled. Were these actively triggered skills there from the beginning? Then will the skills I learn in the future also appear in the skill bar? But what is the difference between occupational skills and regular skills? Although they have similar activation methods, there are also dragon skills. This actually requires 10 achievement points to unlock, and achievement points can only be obtained by defeating monsters. But to defeat monsters, one must at least reach the strength of a purple knight. Compared to these, why did I return to the past? What is this system? From the perspective of occupational skills, this should be related to ancient relics. The current information is still too scarce, but as long as I can become stronger, I am willing to do anything, whether it is the system or the Drake family. There are two types of power in this world: the Knight's Ki and the Mage's Mana. Knights control Ki through their Danshin, while mages control mana through rings. These two powers conflict with each other. Once mana is awakened, Ki cannot be used. Once Ki is awakened, mana cannot be used. And Jik's talent was so poor that he had neither Danshin nor magic. Later, when he was abandoned by his family, he met his master. His master helped him awaken the healing profession and taught him to use ether. So he and his master are in this world the only one who can use ether power. After 2 hours of sword training, at this moment, Jik's body had already reached its limit. But with the help of his healing ability, his body quickly recovered. However, he did not dare to do so in front of others. Use this power, because otherwise they will see you as a monster. Since both stamina and wounds have recovered, let's continue training. The scene shifts to the communal dining area of the cradle. At this moment, everyone is discussing fervently. That Jik seems like a completely different person. Could it be that he used dark magic? Jik, although he acted very barbaric in the Panklachi warm-up, he definitely cannot win. That guy is so weak, he can't even lift a sword. What chance does he have? Seeing this, the two who were being taught a lesson by Jik expressed their opinions. That guy only went to customize a new sword because the sword was too heavy. I can't believe I lost to such a low quality factor. He must have won by luck. Just then, Rear beside them slowly spoke up. Do you think that was just luck? If you really think that way, then you are not qualified to be a Knight of Drake. The boy only used the most basic swordsmanship, yet it left the students present in shock. Even the instructor showed an incredulous expression. He actually used guiding swordsmanship against the swordsmanship genius, Reina. And every flaw was intentionally left for Reina. He even forced Reina to use her already awakened ki. After Reina left the dining hall, time quickly arrived at the day of the swordsmanship competition. Unlike the Panklachi warm-up, this duel uses real swords. So basically, every year someone dies in the swordsmanship competition. Through this competition, the gap between students can be seen. And a month after the end of year evaluation, the blessing ceremony for the Drake Awakening device will be held. At the same time, Jik slowly walked onto the stage, holding a heavy sword. And his opponent was Rear. I choose you as my opponent. Of course, Jik gladly accepted his challenge. At this moment, Reina suddenly realized that Jik was far from as simple as he imagined. Could it be that because of his larger physique, his aura has also become stronger? But soon, he calmed down. I just need to deal with him the way I always have. At this moment, Jik couldn't help but break into a cold sweat. Competing against the Shining Knight, he was still somewhat nervous. Reina Toon is known as the Shining Knight. He is one of the most active 5-star knights on the continent. He awakened before the blessing ceremony, riding on the next one. In the next generation of Drake, he is the one known as a once-in-a-century talent. Although at this time, the awakening period had long passed for him, he worked hard to build a solid foundation, not using ki at all during his cradle period. Just then, with the instructor's command, the next second, Reina launched a thrust, heading straight for him. Seeing this, he immediately distanced himself from her. But in the blink of an eye, Reina had already appeared behind him. Then she unleashed a powerful strike, sending him flying dozens of meters away. I didn't expect his strength to be this strong. At the same time, the crowd shouted for a rear. Stop playing around and quickly take him down. However, a young man coldly snorted, saying, "Is Rear playing with him?" Although he couldn't see very clearly, Rear was always looking for flaws. But every time he tried to attack a flaw, he was always blocked by Jik. It was as if Jik had intentionally revealed flaws, giving Reina a chance. This was simply guiding swordsmanship practice. With a loud bang, the next second, both sides distanced themselves from each other. At this moment, Reina was already somewhat out of breath. Is this the strength of the Shining Knight during the cradle period? Indeed, he is very dedicated to basic swordsmanship. That's why he is bound within a framework. Let's see if I can break his framework. In the next moment, he immediately lowered his body, and Reina realized he wanted to shorten the distance instantly. But in terms of speed, I will definitely not lose to him. Just as he thought this, at this moment, he had already appeared in front of him. Then he swung a heavy sword. Seeing this, Reina immediately sidestepped to avoid it. As long as I create some distance, I can still react. Just then, he kicked up the rubble on the ground and attacked him. Caught off guard, the rubble hit Reina's face directly, just as Reina was stunned. At this moment, he had already appeared in front of him. Then he swung a heavy sword towards Reina's neck. At this critical moment, Reina used her energy, knocking the heavy sword out of his hand. The moment the heavy sword fell to the ground, everyone present felt incredibly excited. Reina is truly amazing. She didn't even use her energy in this match. But the instructor's expression was very grim. No, although the students might not have noticed, the moment Jik's attack touched Reina, he used a barely noticeable amount of energy. Before entering the academy, Reina, who clearly swore not to use energy, actually went back on her word. Just then, Jik appeared in front of him in an instant. Is the match not over yet? In the next moment, Jik threw a punch, hitting Reina directly in the neck. Then Reina clutched her neck and knelt on the ground. Seeing this, the onlookers expressed their dissatisfaction. This is a swordsmanship competition. We cannot acknowledge that Jik used such despicable means. As a knight, he actually dropped his sword. This is simply a disgrace. The winner should be Reina. However, Jik was very dismissive of this. As long as I can win, isn't that enough? At this moment, Jik slowly said to Reina, "Do you want to continue? I haven't lost yet. I just let my guard down." He must have found an opportunity. But he quickly realized that if he had a dagger in hand, he would have been dead long ago. Moments later, Reina announced to everyone that I lost. Upon hearing this, everyone present felt immense shock. Just a few days ago, Jik was regarded as a waste by his family. Yet he actually defeated Reina, who was hailed as a genius in the family. The boy touched the bronze statue for the first time during the blessing ceremony. But it left everyone present feeling incredibly shocked. Even the clan leader showed difficulty. A confident expression. This is the legendary red magic. He actually has pure blood awakening. Right after Jik won the swordsmanship competition, his victory dealt a huge blow to the entire cradle. And he himself was hiding in the training room, practicing hard. At this moment, he opened his status window. Sure enough, after the skill proficiency reached expert level, it would increase in level. The speed learned a month ago in the swordsmanship competition has now become proficient. Just then, He slowly spoke towards the door behind him. Decker. What brings you here? Young master, we are ready to depart. On the other side, the black-haired man said, with a worried expression. In this situation, Abel, can you still drink tea? That kid Jick defeated Rail. Yet Abel seemed completely unconcerned. No need to worry too much. You always think too seriously about things. It's been a long time since we returned to the family home. I wonder what interesting things our little brother will awaken. I'm quite curious about this. The scene shifts. He immediately boarded the carriage to the family home. The family home of the Drake family is located in Troy Valley. The family center is in the Four Seasons city of the Midland continent. But the blessing ceremony will definitely take place at the origin of the Dragonslayer legend. In the family home, moments later, he arrived at the Drake family's home city. The dragon's lair is gone. At this moment, looking at everything in front of him, he appeared somewhat surprised. The participants here are actually all people you can only see in the continent's newspapers. And among them, there should be watchers sent directly to monitor me, regardless of their purpose. As long as they know I cannot awaken, they will definitely dispel their wariness towards me. In the next second, he showed an incredibly angry expression. How could this guy be here? At the same time, Abel was conversing with the nobles, and he stated that he came here to watch the blessing ceremony, because this time, the night includes my lovely younger brother, the second son of the Drake family, known as the Lion Sword, Abel. Drake has experienced the past life of Jick, and knows that the title of the Slaughter Knight is more suitable for him. At this moment, he is trying to convince himself to calm down. After all, he currently cannot do anything, and he clearly remembers that in his previous life, Abel never participated in the blessing ceremony. Could it be that my actions have changed the future? Perhaps this time there will be an opportunity, who knows? At the same time, the blessing ceremony officially begins. The first to participate in the ceremony is Aaron. He reaches his right hand into the water, then cuts his palm. In the next second, a blue energy instantly surrounds him. It then gathers at his dantian. All blood relatives of the Drake family must go through the blessing ceremony, opening their dantian at the age of 12 when graduating from the cradle, and awaken the next layer. In very rare cases, special situations may occur, awakening the characteristics of the Dragon Slayer at the same time as the awakening device, interfering with Marlin. Just then, the Marlin lamp suddenly flickered with red light. Seeing this, everyone present showed immense excitement, because this could lead to a pure blood awakening of the Red Knight, or even the Black Knight. Then the instructor signaled them to bring the gloves. Due to the interference of Marna's characteristics, there are no family special gloves, and they cannot even live normally. Because it proves that they are pure blood, they can use the Drake name, and also receive various family assistance and resource privileges. Just then, Jick slowly stood on the awakening ceremony, and at this moment, everyone present felt very excited. He has won against Layer. That must be a pure blood awakening. But Jick gazed at everything in front of him, trapped, fell into deep thought, didn't expect to stand in front of this damn statue again. In his past life, he survived from the cradle with gritted teeth, but became the first failure of awakening in the Drake family. But this time will be different. It's not just about healing. He can also control the ether. More importantly, he stood up with his own will. So this time, counting on you. You damn bronze statue. But then, the bronze statue remained completely still. Seeing this, everyone present felt immense shock. Even Abel's expression turned serious. This has never happened before. As expected, I shouldn't have had any hope for him. It's all that guy's fault, making me have unnecessary expectations. And everyone was very shocked. Is there really no possibility of awakening? How could this happen to a direct descendant? He is simply a disgrace to the family. Just then, a window prompt appeared in front of him. The system detected an error during processing, causing a delay in information transmission. Due to the lack of relevant occupational information in the identification device, the information input is now complete. The device confirms the user's ability to heal has confirmed the open profession. In the next second, a red light instantly enveloped the bronze statue. Seeing this, everyone present felt immense shock. It's actually a red glow. This must be a pure blood awakening. At the same time, a window prompt sounded again. Ahead. Activated, the ancient dragon imprinted in the user's soul. The blessing awakened the blood clan's talents. Blood of the warrior. Awakening talents combined together to give birth to a unique profession. You have awakened the talent of the immortal. The strongest awakener of the family wants to shake hands with the boy, but he immediately expressed his refusal because Jik did not want to be associated with him at all. After all, only he knows the future. Abel is known as the Knight of Slaughter. He is a demon-like guy. Just after Jik awakened the talent of the immortal, at this moment, everyone was unsettled. He really is a pure blood awakening. But Mana didn't react at all. Could it be that the bronze statue is broken? And Jik realized that, speaking at this moment, would definitely raise everyone's suspicion. Just then, Abel clapped his hands and said, "Why is everyone so serious?" This time, two pure blood awakeners appeared. Isn't this something worth celebrating? Hearing, the nobles present all agreed. This is something worth celebrating. Then he signaled his subordinates, asking what they were still doing. Hurry and get gloves for Jik. In less than a moment, Jik put on the specially made gloves. I understand this guy's intentions very well. My mood is really terrible. At the same time, the instructor announced to everyone that the blessing ceremony was over. There will be a celebration party later. Please have fun, everyone. As Jik was about to leave, in the next second, Abel suddenly called out to him, "Jik, so anxious. Where do you want to go? Congratulations on your pure blood awakening." Saying this, he extended his right hand to Jik. At this moment, Jik fell into deep thought, a handshake. If I refuse, he will definitely sense my hostility. Maybe I should just cooperate with him for now. In the next second, a scene of Abel's ruthless nature flashed before his eyes. Then he immediately rejected his handshake. Seeing this, Abel showed an extremely disdainful expression. "You are making me very awkward." Immediately, his expression tightened. "Even if it means death, I will never shake your hand either." At this moment, Abel slowly spoke, "There's no way. Just seeing you is enough. Then see you next time." "Of course, Jik. We will definitely meet again." The scene shifted. Jik returned to the room. But why is everything fine? All pure blood awakeners have the ability to hinder mana. This indicates the ability completely opposite to mana creatures, dragons. However, most devices rely on mana for power, and pure blood awakeners need gloves provided by their family. If he really is a pure blood awakener, there will definitely be problems after removing the gloves. Then he immediately opened his status window. It was completely different from before. Not hindering mana, but reflecting mana? It seems like it needs to be analyzed slowly. In the next second, the detailed information about reflecting mana appeared before his eyes. Reflecting mana uses a distorted magnetic field to render the surrounding mana ineffective. Reflecting mana is actually considered a skill because it doesn't activate at any time. Is that why mana users are fine? Moreover, before the ceremony, it was a rare profession. But now it is a unique immortal. But he quickly noticed something was off. All the students were ordinary awakeners with blue light. Only Reina was a red, pure blood awakener. And he started as red, then changed to gold. He vaguely remembered the system once said. The identification device lacks some information. Could the identification device refer to that bronze statue? And when the system input the information, the silent bronze statue emitted red light. At this moment, he suddenly realized. The bronze statue does not determine whether one awakens, but confirms whether the user has the qualifications. Rare professions are red. Unique professions are gold. It's just that the concept of professions has disappeared in modern times. So it became a tool to confirm whether one awakens, leading to rare professions being referred to as pure blood awakeners. No one among the past family heads discovered this issue. And he suddenly found that he had achievement points. It seems like he got them at that time. So he chose to use them without hesitation. In the next second, countless windows popped up, indicating the Dragon Clan skills. Unlock Dragon Eye. The majesty of the dragon and the gluttony skill. More achievement points are needed to activate. But what does this gluttony mean? Eat a lot and digest quickly. Although he didn't know what it was. It looked pretty good. Then he immediately unlocked Dragon Eye and the majesty of the dragon skill. In the next second, he suddenly activated the Dragon Eye skill. But it seemed like there wasn't much change. However, he quickly noticed something was off. Because the statue in the courtyard seemed right in front of him. I didn't expect this to actually be useful. Just then, a window prompt sounded. Do you need to mark the information of the discovered items? In the next second, the detailed information of all items around appeared before his eyes. Then he suddenly lost all his stamina. It seems this Dragon Clan skill is quite domineering. But soon, he restored his stamina through healing magic. Just then, he noticed that his healing factor had improved. The wounds on his body would automatically heal. This is really amazing. This can almost be considered an immortal body. Then he picked up a small knife and made a cut on his hand. In less than a moment, the wound on his hand instantly healed. Do I still need to stay in the academy for 5 years to graduate? I think 2 years is enough. The strongest family in the empire wants to help the boy. But he outright refused on the spot. This left Reina beside him in shock. Why refuse the help of the Toon family? But only he knew. Accepting help would mean becoming a puppet of the family. Moreover, he also doesn't need the blessings of pure blood awakeners. Just after mastering the Dragon Eye skill, immediately, he arrived at Drake Academy. This is the top night academy in the continent. Every spring, during the new semester, the entire capital is filled with vitality. Unexpectedly, the upperclassmen here are just like adults. Their bodies are trained to perfection. But compared to us born in the cradle, we are still far behind. At this moment, he immediately noticed the nobles beside him. It seems they have already established their own factions. Among the countless branch families supporting the Drake family, there are the 3 most influential families: Littleton, the ambitious Gemmons, and the wealthy Walter. The children of these 3 families have all established their own factions. But this has nothing to do with me. The scene shifts, and he immediately arrives at the advanced dormitory for pure blood awakeners. The Platinum Apartments, which are equipped with training grounds, libraries, and various convenient facilities. Only the top students can reside here. Even those from the cradle find it hard to live here. And pure blood awakeners are granted the privilege of floor managers. Moments later, a group of servants was welcoming Geek's arrival. And he was quite shocked. Even for pure bloods, this is too extravagant. At this moment, Decker found Geek. He stated that he had something to hand over to Geek. It turned out to be a new pair of gloves. This time I got new gloves. So taking this opportunity, I'll forge a new sword again. Regarding this idea, Decker expressed his agreement. The Duchy of Troy is close to the Giant Mountains, which is rich in high-quality iron ore and excellent craftsmen. It is rumored that the first weapon of knights from the academy, it was made in Troy. At this moment, Decker slowly said, "Do you need me to help you find a good craftsman?" "Not necessary. Because I have already found the right candidate." Saying this, he handed the card with the name to Decker. Galen Halport? This is the first time I've heard that name. I will contact him right away. That's the right one for him. Young master, this is the material needed for class tomorrow. Please take some time to look it over. Then Decker turned and left. At this moment, Geek fell into deep thought. As long as I live on the platinum floor, I can freely practice dragon skills. Just then, the servant beside him slowly said, "Rena, the young lady invites you to dine together." "Is it really Rena? Then take me over to see her." The scene shifted, and he arrived at the floor where Rena was. "Welcome to your arrival." At this moment, Rena snapped her fingers. In the next second, the attendant behind Rena turned and left. "Sorry, our family members are a bit special." "Then let's get to the point. After we finish eating." The scene shifted, and at this moment, he fell into deep thought. No wonder he's called the Shining Knight. He is using the Danshin controller. Is he about to reach the realm of the Purple Knight? But why is his swordsmanship so rigid? It's really a shame for his talent. Moments later, after finishing the meal, Rena began to get to the point. He accepted the help of the Toon family. Upon hearing this, he was quite puzzled. "Did you forget? I am a pure blood awakened one, just like you. It seems you have some misunderstanding about pure blood awakened ones. We have indeed received quite a few benefits, like this platinum floor, but we won't receive any cultivation resources. The Academy has accumulated centuries of academic and practical experience. A private tutor who can effectively improve your abilities. If you don't have these, no matter how strong your talent is, you will still be eliminated in the end. So you need a family that can help you." Even Abel, the current Red Knight, received help from the Gemond family. Although the head of the Toon family didn't tell me the reason. It seems you haven't received help from an outside family. I'll say it again. Immediately accept the help of the Toon family. But you immediately expressed refusal on the spot. Upon hearing this, Rena felt incredibly shocked. Why? It's a good thing for you that the Toon family is offering help. At this moment, Jike slowly opened his mouth and said, "It's not because of that. But rather, I completely do not need any benefits outside of pure blood awakened ones. Since you sincerely treated me to a meal, I'll give you a piece of advice. Your swordsmanship has too much aftershock. I guess it might be because you care too much about those people behind you. Listen carefully. Your strength lies in the flexibility brought by your elastic body. Do not take attacks head on. Defeat your opponents with strength, but rather use your flexible body to evade the opponent's attacks, and then take the opportunity to deliver a precise strike to the enemy. If you can do these things, then you will definitely be stronger than you are now." Upon hearing this, Rena immediately said, somewhat dissatisfied, "Strength is the symbol of the Toon family. I'm just following family traditions." But he wasn't wrong. Because I have been trapped in the family's mindset. All of this unconsciously reflected in my sword. Did he actually see through me? Everyone has praised me as a genius since childhood, but no one has ever given me any advice. "Jike, who exactly are you?" The boy simply performed the most basic draw and slash. Yet it left everyone present in utter shock. Because he was the first one to challenge instructor Andre. It's important to know that although Andre is not a pure blood awakened one, he graduated with the highest score in the entire school. The Academy's century genius. After giving Rena advice, Jike was now walking towards the dormitory. In his past life, this place was simply hell for him. But after becoming a pure blood awakened one, everything changed. This place is simply like heaven. At this moment, a voice called out to him, "Jike, are you also in the special class?" Owen Jamans is the third son of the Jamans family. In his past life, he used others to bully Jike. He was a cunning guy, good at pretending to be nice. At this moment, he slowly began to speak. I invited you to dinner yesterday. Why didn't you reply to me? That letter on the table yesterday? Don't joke around. Why should I have to reply to you? The next second, a tall figure blocked Jike's path. Jike, you actually dare to ignore the young master's kindness. And Jike was quite curious. Who are you? I can understand your desire to please the young master. But you need to choose your targets wisely when provoking others. At the same time, Jike waved his hand to block the attack from the newcomer. Then both sides created some distance from each other. Unexpectedly, the upperclassmen here can all use aura now. At this time, he slowly said, my name is Deban Roswell. People here call me Strongman Deban. I'll teach you a lesson on behalf of young Master Owen. Strongman Deban? A guy who isn't even a knight, daring to take that nickname. The next second, Jike instantly appeared in front of him, then threw a punch infused with aura, which sent him flying dozens of meters away. So who comes after Strongman Deban? Hurry up and decide. Young Master Owen. At this moment, Owen slowly walked to Jike's side. Don't be too arrogant. Jike then turned and left with them. Drake Academy can generally be divided into two classes. One is the regular class, which sets courses and learning goals from morning till night. And besides the basic courses, a special class where courses can be chosen freely. This class is made up of the Academy's top students. At this moment, Jike is showing no concern at all. I didn't expect that. All of them are from prestigious backgrounds. Just then, the professor slowly said that to encourage the new students in the special class, they have invited a distinguished guest today. The commander of the Eastern Empire's battle team from 20 years ago, who relied on his wisdom to organize the invasion of the Empire, the heroic Principal Howard, the battle hero of Drake. Although Howard is known as the hero strategist, he is actually just a petty person who leaked our information. It was just a twist of fate that disrupted the enemy's plans, and in the end, he became a hero. And most importantly, in my past life, it was this guy who drove Jike out of the academy, causing Jike to wander in the Duchy of Troy, and ultimately being sold as a slave to the Southern Karut. And Jike vowed he would make him pay for all of this. At this moment, the professor slowly said, so, before we start class, please take your swords and gather at the training ground. A moment later, everyone arrived at the indoor training ground. The basic course of dragon slaying is actually a required course for the special class. In my past life, he couldn't use ki, which caused him to spend 2 whole years learning a course that could be completed in 3 months. At this moment, the professor slowly spoke, saying that I am in charge of the special class on dragon slaying basics. Upon hearing this, the people present began to discuss among themselves. He seems to be wearing the formal uniform of Drake. Could he be the red-eyed knight Andre? He is not a pure blood awakened one, but he achieved first place in the rankings, graduated early from the academy. He is a once-in-a-century genius, granted the title of Drake by his family. And Jike appeared very surprised. The teacher of the special class is so skilled. He is famously inflexible. The next moment, he signaled everyone to be quiet. And at this time, he noticed the heavy sword Jike was carrying on his back. Classmate, what's up with that sword of yours? Upon hearing this, Jike immediately drew the heavy sword and swung it a few times. As you can see, this is the sword I can use. And Andre looked quite puzzled. Don't you know, students should choose a sword based on their physical condition? At this moment, Jike felt quite helpless. I knew this sword would cause a stir. If I can defeat the teacher with this sword, wouldn't that mean I don't have to explain? Upon hearing this, Andre immediately released a powerful aura. But it was instantly blocked by a hard mental defense skill. At this moment, Andre slowly drew his sword. As long as your sword can touch my sword, this time I won't hold you accountable for your rudeness. And I will also exempt you from your dragon slaying basics course. The next moment, an incredibly powerful aura suddenly surged towards him. The boy only displayed the most basic ki, yet it left the genius students in utter shock. Even Andre's right hand, gripping the longsword, couldn't help but tremble. How could a mere student use ki? And what about his terrifying stamina? Sure enough, pure blood awakened ones are very unfavorable to me. Just after Andre released his powerful aura. At this moment, he slowly spoke, saying not to worry. I won't use ki against students. Upon hearing this, a smile immediately appeared. I know Andre's weakness, so I should be able to win against him. But now I'm being targeted by Abel. If I attract attention like a cradle, it could lead to big problems. So if I touch his clothes, I will just admit defeat. The next moment, Jike quickly executed a draw and slash, but was instantly blocked by Andre. Down. Seeing this, he was immediately shocked. Truly worthy of the Blue Knight. Defeating him should not be an easy task. Then he immediately launched a particularly fierce offensive against him. At the same time, everyone watching on the side felt incredibly shocked. Drake's official knight is indeed extraordinary. After fighting for a full 30 minutes, Jike hadn't even touched instructor Andre's clothes at all. But what they didn't know was, at this moment, Andre's right hand had already begun to tremble uncontrollably, and he was very shocked. Why does this guy have such terrifying stamina? It should be very difficult for me to defeat him. Sure enough, pure blood awakened ones are very unfavorable to me. At the same time, Jike looked at Andre, lost in thought. His stamina is still so poor. Plus, not using ki, his stamina is even more insufficient. Drake's training in ki is notoriously strange. Not only in training, but also in daily life, ki must be used. Ki is like breathing. It has become a part of people's lives. And now Andre is as if he has stopped breathing. Plus, his irregular swordsmanship. Andre will consume stamina even faster. If this continues, Jike won't be able to pretend to lose to him. Just then, Jike suddenly thought of a way. As long as I lure him to use ki, it will be fine. After all, letting him win now has no meaning. In the next second, Jike suddenly used a speed skill. At this moment, Jike's figure kept appearing around Andre. Just as Andre looked shocked, he had already leaped into the air, then unleashed the skill one-hit kill. And at this critical moment, Andre suddenly used ki step to create distance. Then he concentrated ki on his sword, immediately swinging out a heavy strike, which sent him flying dozens of meters away on the spot. Seeing this, Reina beside him could not help but show a worried expression. Damn, I didn't expect it to hurt this much. But now, it's time to fall down. In the next second, he suddenly collapsed to the ground. Seeing this, Andre silently retracted his sword. You don't have to attend my class from now on. Then, Andre asked the crowd, is there anyone else who doesn't want to attend my class? Upon hearing this, the crowd below all showed expressions of extreme fear. Then I'll assume the rest of you are all attending. The scene shifted. He was lying on the hospital bed. Although he didn't touch Andre's clothes, in the end, Andre had to use a weapon. This meant he had acknowledged Jike's strength. From the results, Andre restored classroom discipline, while Jike gained freedom and time. At this moment, he recalled Andre's final strike. That was the PTK from Chapter 1, Section 1 of the Dragon Slaying Law. But even Jike didn't expect the Blue Knight's move would be this powerful. And he could match the Blue Knight evenly, completely because he had healing abilities within him. However, just relying on this is far from enough to live a free life. If you don't want to be bound by others, You need incredibly strong power. The power to not have to yield to anyone. Just then, a figure suddenly appeared in front of Jake. Looks like you were Arthur's youngest son. And Jake was quite shocked. Who the hell is this guy? At this moment, the red-haired uncle asked Jake his doubts. Kid, how did you do that just now? You clearly suffered serious internal injuries just now. But why did you recover in an instant? Did he sense the healing ability? And Jake quickly calmed down. You should know. No one in the academy knows about healing abilities. So he chose to continue pretending not to know. In the next second, the uncle suddenly struck with a knife hand towards Jake. Seeing this, he immediately sidestepped to avoid it. Then he threw out a white sheet, just as the uncle lost sight of him. At this moment, Jake suddenly launched several skills. Then he swung his giant sword fiercely at the uncle. But in the next second, the uncle easily blocked his attack. At this moment, the uncle slowly spoke. Your adept ability is outstanding. The strongest black knight on the continent wants to teach the boy swordsmanship. But he outright refused. Because Jake didn't want to have any connection with him. After all, he was once the dreaded Gale Knight on the continent. But why would such a legendary figure be hiding in the academy? As a courtyard manager? After the uncle blocked Jake's attack, both sides distanced themselves from each other. And Jake was quite puzzled. Who exactly is this person? Why did he say I look like a mercenary? Could it be that he knows about my past life? Just then, the uncle slowly spoke again. As a member of the Drake family, you actually dropped your sword and ran away. It seems that compared to being a knight, you are more suited to being a mercenary. And Jake stared at the uncle, lost in thought. This guy's strength is at least at the level of a red knight. At this moment, the uncle asked Jake, is this the Scottish broadsword distributed by the cradle? Your strength is so good. Why are you using this kind of weapon? Just as Jake was about to respond to this, in the next second, a figure suddenly appeared behind Jake. The newcomer was indeed Andre. You are indeed here. Courtyard manager, Mr. Dexter. Hearing this, Jake was very puzzled. This guy is actually the courtyard manager. Just then, Andre's voice rang out again. Weren't you at the training ground just now? How did you suddenly end up here? This classmate. If you heal your injuries, hurry back. Just as Jake was about to turn and leave, in the next second, he heard the uncle's voice say, if you have time, come to the greenhouse on the west side of the academy. I will teach you some good things. To this, Jake immediately expressed his refusal. This temper is exactly the same as Arthur's. Courtyard manager, Mr. Dexter. This must be a false identity. His status is so high that he can directly address the head of the Drake family. Yaz Andre's only master in this life. Duke Drake, known as the Gale Knight. His strength alone is enough to rival the entire kingdom's army. He is one of the rumored Black Knights. His sudden disappearance once caused a sensation across the continent. I didn't expect him to hide here. I've heard that Duke is a guy with deep obsessions. It's said that he became a Black Knight because he likes black. So he desperately pursued becoming a Black Knight. And Jake is very interested in Duke. But since he wants to guide me, I definitely won't miss his ultimate move. I want to turn his interest into an obsession. The scene shifts. At this moment, the magic theory lecturer Peenan is giving a class. In this situation, someone knows how to solve it. But no one is willing to respond. Just then, Jake raised his hand and slowly said, Professor, the mana conversion driving technique you just explained, I don't quite understand. Upon hearing this, the professor immediately became interested. It's the first time a student has asked me a question. After a moment, just as everyone was preparing to leave the classroom, the professor immediately called out to Jake. It's rare to encounter such a studious student like Jake. If you want to know anything in the future, You can come to my research room to find me. Don't be fooled by my appearance. I'm actually a Delphi, a student who has received quite a few scholarships at the Magic University. Upon hearing this, Jike was quite surprised. Although I knew he wasn't an ordinary magician, I didn't expect him to be the famous Delphi, a graduate of the Magic University. Without any hesitation, he immediately agreed. After all, having a good relationship with a magician wouldn't be a bad thing for him. Magicians who are good at calculations tend to have more open-minded thoughts compared to rigid knights. They are more suitable as companions. Is this difficult? Let me see if he is really useful. Just then, he noticed something beside him. He saw Duke lying on the bench, and he was quite curious as to why Jike didn't go to the greenhouse. I should have mentioned that I would give you good things. Jike showed no interest in this. Didn't I already refuse at that time? At this moment, Jike slowly spoke up, saying, I know your strength is outstanding, but I am busy training, and I don't have time. Meanwhile, Duke suddenly appeared next to Jike, and Jike hadn't reacted yet. He was knocked out on the spot by a single blow. When he came to his senses, he realized he had already arrived at the greenhouse on the west side of the academy. You brought me here tied up. Duke responded to this. That's right, I did bring you here tied up. Kid, I'm very interested in you. Now, you're even saying your inner thoughts out loud. It seems like he is a bit anxious, just as he was about to use a quick step to escape from here. The next second, Duke had already appeared behind him in an instant. As he slowly raised his left hand, he was immediately forced to a stop. This guy is still playing with me, and immediately felt very confused. What exactly sparked your interest in me? How did your internal injuries heal so quickly back then? It seems he cares a lot about this matter. Since you're so curious, why not try it yourself? Upon hearing this, Duke immediately disappeared from the spot, just as Jike was looking puzzled. The next second, the heavy sword came straight at him. Seeing this, Jike immediately sidestepped to avoid it. Then he turned around to catch it. What does this mean? At this moment, Duke slowly began to speak. Didn't you say to let me try it? But that was really too easy. Why don't you make a bet with me? As long as you touch my sleeve with your sword, I'll grant you one wish. But if you choose to give up, you must tell me all your secrets. The boy only displayed the most basic aura, but it startled the strongest Black Knight on the continent, causing him to break out in a cold sweat. It seems he has been attacking in the same way all along. But in reality, he is looking for an opportunity to use the dragon's majesty, and at the same time, deliver a fatal blow. Kid, let's just consider this duel a draw. Just after Duke proposed the terms, 3 hours had already passed, and Duke was quite shocked. What on earth is this little brat up to? Not only can he take hits and fight back, he has abundant stamina, and he can endlessly heal his injuries. Could it be that this guy, just then, immediately used a healing skill on himself? Although he can hold on for a whole day, he definitely won't win this bet. The skill Dragon's Majesty is too dangerous, so it has never been used. But if the opponent is the Black Knight, there shouldn't be any problem. In the next second, he suddenly erupted with powerful energy. Seeing this, Duke was very surprised. The look in this kid's eyes became much sharper. That's more like it. At this moment, he slowly began to gather energy. In the next second, he used the instant of speed step, executing a... This kid only keeps repeating the same attack, compared to that super fast guy. And the daughter of the Toon family, he's quite lacking. But the fiery look in his eyes is really quite endearing, just as he hesitated whether to use a bit of momentum. At this moment, Jike suddenly activated Dragon's Majesty. In an instant, Duke broke out in a cold sweat. Then he punched through Jike's defense, and he was very puzzled. What exactly just happened? Just then, Jike raised a cloud of dust, just as Duke was searching for Jike's whereabouts. At this moment, he had already instantaneously appeared behind Duke, accompanied by the activation of Dragon's Eye. He swiftly struck at Duke, but the next second, the slash passed through Duke's body. Immediately after that, Duke transformed into a gust of wind and disappeared from the spot. Seeing this, he immediately showed immense shock. Could this be Duke's ultimate move? Creating a gust of wind with ordinary speed. That's why he is called the Gale Knight. Meanwhile, Duke suddenly appeared behind him. Let's consider this match a draw. Kid, in the next second, Duke suddenly threw a heavy punch, which immediately sent him flying dozens of meters away. At this moment, a window prompt sounded in front. You have overused your skills. Fatigue level has exceeded the allowed range. As expected, like master, like disciple. Then he slowly closed his eyes due to excessive fatigue. When he opened his eyes again, he found himself back in the dormitory. It seems Duke brought me here. Damn, I was so close to succeeding. Truly worthy of the Black Knight. I did everything I could. But I have no chance against him at all. Using the same attack hundreds of times. To lure Duke into lowering his guard. In a decisive moment. To create an opportunity with the might of a dragon. Even used Dragon Flame to deliver a fatal blow. But that was still far from enough. The last technique Duke used is definitely his ultimate move. Although Jik fainted due to overusing dragon skills, he passed out. But fortunately, he came into contact with the ultimate move. Using a body trained to the limit. That kind of super high-speed movement technique that transcends common sense. The frail Andre was able to become the Crimson Knight, thanks to this ultimate move. Although he lost the opportunity to learn the ultimate move, he still gained quite a bit. The majesty of the dragon. The pressure that even the Black Knight could be momentarily stunned by. This skill used on someone of a lower level can immediately make them submit. Just then, a window popped up notifying you that you have received an unconfirmed text message. Then countless window prompts sounded. Speed upgraded to sea level. High speed movement. Because of the user's strong will, the soul grows. You can use achievements to unlock the next skill. Next is the minimap. Item inventory. Various items like the beginner's quest book waiting to be unlocked. And looking at everything in front of him, he immediately felt overwhelmed. So he first unlocked the item function. You can store designated items in the inventory. When you think of the item, it will appear in your hand. This means I can store the equipment I want. Then he imagined in his mind, placing the short sword in the inventory. The next second, the great sword appeared in the inventory. Depending on size and weight, it will occupy a different number of slots. And when he wanted to take out the great sword would appear in his hand. I didn't expect this to be even more useful than a spatial box. Moreover, the inventory can continue to expand through achievements. Such an amazing function is actually just a lower level administrator skill. If it upgrades to a higher level, it seems achievement points cannot be used recklessly. Then it's time to modify the plan. Moments later, Decker found Jik. He stated, "The courtyard manager, Duke, has a letter to deliver to Jik. The letter said that if you want to challenge again, any time is fine. It seems I haven't failed yet. That means I still have a chance." Just then, Decker slowly spoke, "Young master, I have another piece of news to tell you. I found the blacksmith you mentioned last time. But a problem has arisen. The blacksmith refused the appointment, saying I will no longer forge weapons.